हैं बादा मस्त बादा आशा में अहमदियत चलता है दौर मीना ओ जाम अहमदियत.
Just quickly, I want to go to Dr. Abdul Salam from Wolverhampton. He's one of the doctors who studied in China, and maybe we need to do a K-Talks with him as well soon. Dr. Saab, if you can quickly unmute yourself, I just wanted to get one quick opinion from your side. I know there's a lot of talk about the vaccine and people taking the vaccine. So just want to get from what are doctors saying? Is it good or is it bad? Because we hear a lot of NHS staff have refused to take it. So what's your stance on the vaccine, just quickly?
It's good. Have it. No, in all honesty, I think the safety of other people around you is more important than your own safety. Because we're young, alhamdulillah, where we can pretty much overcome these anything. I had this virus, I think, for a day I was poorly. After that, I was up and about, running around, and I couldn't feel anything. So, and I'd say I'm not that fit. I don't exercise at all, right? So for us, Khuddam, it's not so important, but we're transmitting a lot of it without even realizing. Because for the first 2 days, I was completely asymptomatic, and I was going around hugging my mother, Toby Saab, and everyone, and then you find out they get it. So it's not you're not having this vaccine for yourself, you're having it to protect others around you. And I know, I understand a lot of people are saying that, oh, I don't trust the vaccine, they rolled it out too quick, we don't know the effects, we don't know the chronic effects, we don't know if it's safe or not, or we don't know if it's going to work or not. But it's past phase 1, past phase 2, past phase 3. So why would you not have it? Why would you put other people at risk by not receiving something that could potentially, possibly save someone else's life?
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum, Rabi sir.
Dr. Saab, I think you seem to say something as well.
Assalamualaikum, yes, assalamualaikum to all my brothers as well. So, as you know, I'm driving my car once again on the way, just finished work on the way home. Basically, I'm a GP. I've been administering these vaccines with my own hand, and I've received both the doses of the Pfizer vaccine. I'd just like to share a few things with my other brothers so we can relieve a few misconceptions regarding this vaccine. There was an excellent program which was streamed by Humanity First last week, and you can actually access this on YouTube. It's around tackling the hesitancy around vaccines. The program was delivered by one of the world-renowned COVID-19 experts by Dr. Fahim Yunus. He is based in Maryland, US, and he addressed the safety concerns around the vaccine. First of all, I'll just start with the safety concerns. They seem to arise because people think, how has a vaccine been developed within the period of 1 year? How can it be that they can develop a safe vaccine within 1 year when it takes 10 years to develop a vaccine? So first thing is to realize that this virus has been around for a very long time. We had a sort of a period where it was very virulent in 2008, and it spiked in various different times as well. So we are familiar with this virus. When you develop a vaccine, you need to identify how are you going to allow the body's immune system to develop defense mechanism against that virus. So we already know the nature of this virus, and based on that, we were able to identify what part of the virus we needed to target very quickly. To be honest with you, the Oxford vaccine, the AstraZeneca one, was actually designed over a period of 48 hours. So that vaccine was actually developed within 48 hours. The rest of the trials was what took a lot of the time. So there's two different vaccines we have at the moment. One is the mRNA one, and the other is the viral vector one. So the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine and the one that they're using in America at the moment called the Moderna one, these are based on mRNA technology. The other one is a viral vector. So I'll just explain for Khuddam brothers what the difference between the two is. So mRNA is a bit of genetic coding. It's a bit like computer software programming. So you get that injected into your muscle, it gets absorbed into your blood, and that coding then goes onto your cells. So in the cells, that code tells them to make a particular protein. That protein leaves the cell. It's a special protein. As soon as the virus enters the body, that protein will attach to the virus and stop it from doing any significant damage. The Oxford vaccine, there's a chimpanzee virus vector. So the same code is carried into the body by this virus. It acts as a vector. It transports it into the bloodstream and into the cells. So it does exactly this. Ultimately, it does exactly the same job. So what we need to identify is that this vaccine does not prevent us from getting COVID. The vaccine, well, it helps to, I mean, we can still get COVID-19 irrespective of having the vaccine. What it does, it helps to reduce the severity of the COVID-19 illness. It will help to reduce your chances of being hospitalized. So for example, so far, the researchers identified that in those who are over 80, who are more likely to die from the virus, those who are in care homes, the risk of being hospitalized is reduced by 80%. Now, the Pfizer vaccine, which is based on the mRNA technology, is up to 95% effective. The other Oxford one is up to 70.3% effective based on the latest data we have. It's better that we don't compare the two directly because there are no head-to-head studies done. Now, in terms of the safety of these vaccines, vaccines have been trialed in about 6 to 8 countries with up to 26,000 participants in up to phase 3. They have been, the data has been rigorously assessed by the European Medicines Committee in Europe and the Medicines Health Regulatory Authority in the UK. So it is deemed safe. And also by the Joint Committee of Immunizations and Vaccinations in the UK. So it's being deemed safe. Also, the other thing is that this vaccine has been given to well over 100 million people in the world. And there's not been any significant adverse data produced in terms of the bad effects of it. We need to remember that vaccines are not new. This is not new medical technology. They've been around for decades. They've been around for decades and we've been using them for decades. All they needed to do, they've just manipulated the vaccine a little bit to target it against the COVID-19. The content of the vaccine, there's nothing in there that would cause any significant harm. There's in terms of, and there's also concepts with Muslims, they're worried about whether it's a halal vaccine or not a halal vaccine. The vaccine does not contain any animal products. And also with regards to the vaccine in terms of animal products, so there's nothing like that. The non-Muslims in Saudi Arabia and other parts of the world have already given fatwa that you can have this vaccine even whilst you're fasting because they deem it as a non-nutritious, sort of substance as well. I think Murabi Sahib, you've also helped me with this. I also subsequently spoke to Mansoor Zia Sahib, who's a teacher at Jamia. He said that as Ahmadis, we should consider erring on the side of caution because Allah Ta'ala has said that if you have illness, you should not fast. And this vaccine is also to provide aid and defense against illness. So it's better to err on the side of caution and probably not fast on the day of your vaccine. And one other thing is that the vaccine is given in base of priority groups. So those Khuddam who are healthy and fit will obviously be under the low priority group. But we need to remember that they've identified in terms of data that members of the members who are of British, Black, Asian, and minority ethnic groups are slightly more prone to having adverse effects of this virus. So we should take it seriously. We should adhere with the social distancing and safety precautions. And this has constantly been reinforced by Hazrat Amir al-Mu'mineen in his Friday sermons. He's constantly been guiding us of the lifestyle measures that we can take, having adequate sleep, eating healthy, etc., as well. When we go for a vaccine, so when we attend for a vaccine, it usually takes roughly between 3 to 4 weeks for the vaccine to be effective. We constantly advise all people who we give vaccine to that they must follow social distancing and safety precautions until the government advises otherwise. Like I said, the vaccine does not stop you from getting the virus. It reduces the severity of the virus. At the moment, data is being sort of research is undertaken to see whether the vaccine helps to stop the transmission of the virus itself. I would assume that it does. And again, I think people don't need to worry about if they've got allergies to any other food products or they have allergies to penicillin or something like that. It should be generally perfectly fine for them to have the vaccine. Only if you've had a reaction to the vaccine itself or a particular content of the vaccine, or you've had unexplained allergic reactions to the vaccine, something that you're not sure of, then you may not be able to receive the vaccine. Most people tolerate the vaccine perfectly fine. After the vaccine, you may get a bit of an achy, sore arm. You can take paracetamol, rest, plenty of fluids. That will sort it out. After the vaccine, you may feel a bit achy, nauseated. You may have mild flu-like symptoms for a couple of days, but they generally pass. Very, very, very rarely, 1 in a million or probably less than that, do people get any severe allergic reactions to these vaccines. So overall, I mean, these vaccines are pretty safe. There was a question posed by a child in one of this week's with Hazur, where beloved Hazur was asked whether we should take the vaccine. I recall that Hazur mentioned that if the vaccine has been shown to be effective and the government is recommending you take the vaccine, then you should take it. Hazur said that there is zarur leni chahiye, koi harj nahi hai. Obviously, he said that there's no point just jabbing yourself for the sake of having a needle, as there's data being published throughout the world that these vaccines are effective. And then I think, and the government is encouraging that we do take it, then I think we should take it. Who knows in the future that there will be vaccine passports. So members will be carrying vaccine passports. So if you're not vaccinated, you may not be eligible to enter certain public places, travel, or various other things. So it's all early phases. Alongside the vaccine itself, at the end of the day, shafa and healing comes from Allah the Almighty. So after having the vaccine, we should also pray that he provides blessing and cure within the vaccine for all of us and the entire mankind.
Jazakallah, Dr. Saab, for that comprehensive answer, mashallah, on the go, on top of your head, mashallah, very good.
Dr. Saab, sorry, Dr. Saab, there's one brother, I know you're driving, there's one brother who posted a message in the chat. He was saying, I'm not sure it was Brother H, he said, as far as he knows, these vaccines have only been approved for emergency use by the FDA. Can you shed some light on that, Dr. Saab?
Yeah, basically, yes. So these vaccines are, well, the scenario that we find ourselves in is no different from an emergency. There are well over, if you look at the number of deaths throughout the world, is incredible. And look at the economical situation of the world. Is that not an emergency? The number of people who have died, is that not an emergency? The world is heading towards a world war. Is that not an emergency? So that's the wording that they've used, that based on the emergency situation that we find ourselves in, that's what it's been used. That's why it's been approved by rapid the processes have become much more rapid. And I just want to add that, for a vaccine to be approved, a lot of funding has to be put into it. A lot of time has to be put into it. Just to produce the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, the government put £100 million into that as an investment. Routinely we don't get that. So that's why these vaccines have been developed fast. because they've been developed fast, it doesn't mean that they are ineffective or less effective than other vaccines that we have at the moment, or any more sort of pose any danger or being less safe. So we are in an emergency situation. They have been produced rapidly, so we can get ourselves out of this emergency situation.
MashaAllah, Jazakumullah. Guys, we do have to move on. We have got quite a few things to cover, but I hope you guys learned a lot. I just learned a lot from Dr. Saab as well. There were a few other questions, Dr. Saab. If you can answer it just in 30 seconds. If other people have it already, then why would we need to have it for others since they already have it?
Yeah, so basically what we don't know at the moment, if you've had COVID, we don't know at the moment whether you can get COVID again. So that's something we don't know at the moment. Once you've had so if you have had COVID and you have the vaccine again, it will provide you an extra immune system booster, just like we have an annual flu jab, because the flu virus changes itself every year. So we have to change the vaccine a little bit every year, just like we're seeing the COVID virus is changing itself every year. So it just provides an extra booster in the immune system. It's just like keeping your immune system, up to a healthy level to fight against the vaccine. That's why you need to have the vaccine, even if you've had the illness, and then you'll have to have a second dose. And I think it's more than likely that you're going to have a booster probably in late winter this year or next year as well.
Inshallah. Jazakallah, Dr. Saab, Jazakallah for that input. It's really, really interesting topic. Might need a bit more time next week if you can come on again. But really appreciate that. Guys,